Day 6 and it's mid-afternoon and we're about 18 kilometres from our destination for the night, which is Kaza. As you can see, the road is great and there's no traffic as usual. All along here to the left, to the right hand side, you can see how steep it is and how there's no vegetation. So it's very common here for there to be smaller landslides right through. And as from time to time you can see rocks on the road, and that's where a single little rock's come down. These lower slopes aren't as bad, but you still get bigger rocks coming down. It's when you have very tall slopes, everything gets a lot of momentum, and even a small orange sized rock, if it hits you, it'll hurt. This area here last season was the scene of a really big landslide, and we were the first to come through, and it was an absolute nightmare of mud and slush, and we ended up having to get pulled through on the bikes. It was just madness, and now it seems so tame. And then up ahead is what every motorbike rider hates to see. That is rain, and that is where we are going. So going through the mind is, do I go through the full palaver of putting all the wet weather gear on, or do I risk it that it's going to be over by the time I get there, or it's not going to be that deep and I'll blast through it and come through the other side? I've yet to find a set of rain gear where the pants in particular, the jackets are usually fine, but the pants are not a hassle to get on and off, especially when you got your big off-road riding boots on. So at this point I'm thinking, okay, I'm just gonna get as far up as I can and then make the decision whether I'm going to put the wet weather gear on or not. The rain looks pretty heavy, and while it's not super cold, you don't really want to be wet, especially if we're only that far away from stopping for the day. We won't be able to use the wind to dry us out, so let's see what happens. So still dry here. It's looking okay, but it's definitely looking wet up ahead. Right about now I'm still undecided. One half of me says just go through it and see what happens, it's only water, and the other half says, oh, let's get geared up, this could be set in for a while. So if I'm going to stop, this is normally when I'm about to stop, is when you're starting to see feel spots of rain on you. That's usually when I pull over and gear up with the wet weather gear. So I'm thinking at this stage, I'm just going to go for this and, see what happens. If I get soaked, I get soaked. All of my riding gear, the pants and the jacket and everything, is silicone sprayed before each ride anyway, so it's pretty waterproof anyway, or water resistant. This stop point with the rope across it, usually they stop you here to check your permit. It's just a quick check before CASA, but in this case it's raining, so they're thinking, no, I'm not getting out, you can just go, mate, and that's why he's waving us through. You can see that these two guys here, they have to go and check in, their locals, so they do that. At this point, the police are asking me if I want to go and sit in their booth with them and get out of the rain, and I'm thinking, shall I or shan't I? And then I think, nah, I'm just going to go for this, and let's see what happens. And then right about now I'm thinking, ooh, this wasn't such a good idea. That was hung to the left. He's stopped, he's gearing up with his wet weather gear, and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm going for this. It's it's only probably 10 k's to CASA from here. Let's just go for it. Get a bit impatient when it's wet, so just go around the tractor. And now I'm starting to think, oh, I've got away with this. Here we go. It's not as bad here. Just about all of these small little hamlets and villages that you go through, nowadays they've all got at least 1 or 2 homestays. So if there's only 1, 2 or 3 of you, you can always just find somewhere to stay just about everywhere now in every little village. And yeah, the road is way drier here now, and I'm feeling pretty pleased with myself right about now. I'm thinking, yeah, this is good. And it's dry here. It hasn't even rained. What little water's on my clothes will be dried out by the time I get to CASA in probably 15 minutes time. So it's worked out well for me. I can even see blue sky in the distance. So winner winner chicken dinner. If it does start to rain really hard in a short period of time, that's when you need to be a little bit careful, because you might have a potential landslide that's been sitting there for a week or a few days, and all of a sudden it gets a stack of rain on it, and it gets a bit heavy, and the shale starts to move, and then it comes down. That's military to the left-hand side there. There's a lot of Indian military bases up in Spiti Valley, spread out all over the place, because of how close it is to China and how much of a problem it is between both countries, who both want to claim a bit. And then if you go even further north out of Spiti and up into Lahu and Kashmir, then Pakistan says that that's their land, and so that's another point of flash there. So it's always on. And now I'm feeling really good. I mean, it's fantastic. I can see cars are just to the left there in the distance, the green. I'm running down. There's no rain. Happy days. I have got away with it, whereas Hung and Tom are back further in wet weather gear.